Man, you talk about a fun start. That was a lot of fun. Thought I had a whole shot, and then Tony and I had a good little race through those couple of turns there. Once I kind of got going, I realized who that was, and realized that he's not in my class, so I decided just to kind of tuck in behind him a little bit and try to keep up. But that start was a good time. It is hot today, and sun is out, but the weather is nice, and we're running for 2 hours today. This section, if you remember from last year, is always just pretty slick, so just kind of tiptoeing through here on the first lap, trying to feel out how slick it is, and trying to keep up with Tony there a little bit. He's in the senior class, and I think he ended up getting, I'm pretty sure he got first in the senior class, so just trying to keep up with him for a little bit here and feel out the track. Wasn't real sure how muddy it was going to be. The four-wheelers, the little four-wheelers that ran early in the morning, they were really muddy, so we thought it would be pretty muddy, but it wasn't really as bad as what I thought. Get a little off the track here right there. Let Tony get out just a little bit on me now. Take a different line from previous years right here. At least I don't remember doing that line. I think we went up and down that hill last year instead of going across it like we are right now. Feeling pretty good about the dirt. This is a nice place to ride. It's got really good dirt. The only thing that's sketchy at all really is there are some rocks mixed in. Even back in these sections like this, you'll find some rocks here and there, so got to kind of keep on your toes. This was a really fun turn later in the race because you could just rail that thing, just pin it up through here. This off-camber here is always, again, just a little bit sketchy. You're trying to just make sure you got enough traction to stay where you want. You can tell those low spots there are holding a lot of water and pretty muddy. So again, still just trying to keep up with Tony here. He's starting to inch out on me just a little bit. And I don't hear anybody behind me at this point. We're pretty much pulling away. This is a fun uphill. Day started out pretty rough, and as you'll see here later on, it gets rougher. I got a new covered trailer, enclosed trailer, and really this race was the first time we ever pulled it. And got about 2 miles from the house, and the trailer popped off the hitch. Ran into the back of the truck, so you can imagine how my day started. So it looked to me like the latch on the hitch kind of bounced and popped up enough to let the hitch come off the ball. So I got a couple of bungee cords and strapped the latching mechanism down tight, and then put the after we got it back on the ball, then I latched it and tried to raise the back of the truck up and couldn't get it to pop off again. But you can imagine driving 3 hours on your way to a race with having that just happen. So that's how my day started out. Just about blew a turn there. Went back down into the woods, and there again you got them off cambers that are pretty slick. Got a guy's hopping back on his bike there. This first lap, some of these little downhills that we take here in a minute they're pretty slick. This was kind of a bad line. It really kind of forced me into a bad line right there. I think right there is where I let Tony get kind of out ahead, where I couldn't see him at that point. I'm screwing up those two lines right there. That did it. Nice little bump right there. That hurt, as you can tell. Probably a little bit further left and it would have been even worse than that. Got some roll-offs on today. Got a new set of Liat roll-off goggles. And they came in handy today, although I got the tinted lenses, the yellow tinted lenses, and on all of this shadow, I actually didn't care for the tinted lenses. I wish I would have had clear lenses. Fun little uphill here. Trying to sneak by a couple guys here. So this is round 4, and we're at Black Diamond. Round 3 I could not ride because the race got changed to a Sunday, and I just can't ride on Sundays. So, especially not on a Sunday with short notice. And so when they changed it to Sunday, I pretty much had to take round 3 as one of my drops. So that had me a little bit frustrated, and then here you'll find out later on this lap that my frustration continues. This ends up being a bad race for me. Could have been worse, but yeah, you'll see here in a little bit. I don't know what the weather ended up being, but I think it was like 86 or 87, but it was also really humid. So later in the race, I pushed really, really hard for about 2 laps, and it kind of took it out of me. I was trying to catch up from an issue that I'll just let you see here in a little bit, and pushing so hard for a couple of laps, then kind of my last lap, it was like just kind of hanging on. Speed dropped off quite a bit on my 4th lap. So not having rode round 3, and then literally it seemed like it rained for 2 solid weeks. I have not been on the bike as much as I would like to have been. Got to work out a little bit, but didn't get to be on the bike. Generally, I like to be on the bike during the week. And yeah, right there, I thought about leaning it in and trying to make that turn, but I think if I would have tried to lean that in and make that turn, I think I would have went down. So I opted to go straight and do some bush hogging there in the bike. Still got some remnants of stuff hanging on. So now I gotta, there again, missed a little bit of time again, but there is nobody behind me. I don't hear anybody close at all. So I'm feeling pretty good about my speed. Feeling pretty good about where I'm at. Here's a, oh man, that, even watching that again, that hurt. This section down here, as you can tell, was pretty muddy and pretty slick, and it really never dried up or got tacky. It stayed slick the whole race. At the end of this long section is probably the hardest section in the whole track. Was a left-hander uphill, and it was a lot of roots, and it was wet and slick, and if you didn't get your run up perfect, it was pretty tough to make it. My 2nd, 3rd, and 4th lap, every time I went through here, there were people sitting at the bottom, either resting or trying to figure out how they were going to make it up. So catching back up to a couple guys here. Make a couple passes here pretty quick.
Thank you.
I don't know if you call that a pass though when they let you by. Still a pass, I guess. This little section here was kind of a pain. Just about every lap. It was really slick right here. You can tell I kind of got cross-rutted. Just trying to keep a little bit of momentum. And of course, I came up out of there and wasn't 100% sure that this was the line, but I seen an arrow right there at the last minute. But then I pull into here and I'm like, okay, give me an arrow, and then I finally see one. by yourself. You got to find the arrows yourself and make sure you're on the right line. Last year we had a big mix-up here at Black Diamond, and a lot of us got lost for a little bit. There was some arrows that were a little bit hard to see, and a rut went one way and the arrows kind of went off another way, and so a bunch of people got lost there last year. A little bit faster section here. Dirt's really nice in these areas. Good traction in these areas. Nice little berm into a left-hander there. So yeah, I only did 4 laps today, which was pretty frustrating because, like I mentioned, I had to take a drop last race, so I didn't get any points last race, and I only got 4th place this race. So Big Dave and Chris Lowry, I think, got 1st and 2nd. Chris Schubert, I think, got 3rd. And those are all guys that ride consistent, so I needed to be ahead of them, and that didn't happen today. I'm ahead of them right now, but it doesn't stay that way, and it's for a pretty frustrating reason. And it actually wasn't a wreck. I don't know if anybody remembers from, I'm thinking last year or maybe 2019 in East Fork, I had kind of a weird issue. It might have been Brush Creek, either Brush Creek or East Fork. I went through a big, well, it wasn't that big, but I went through a creek, and my bike stalled trying to make it up the bank on the other side. It was, I guess that was the pro line. So my bike stalled. Here's the hard section, by the way. They got really hard later in the race, but pretty easy on the first lap. But anyway, so my bike stalled, and I ended up having a broken reed. The reed broke and got sucked into the engine, and so my bike would only run like right off of full throttle. So it was kind of crazy. So I ran like 1 lap like that. Figured I better pull off before I blow my bike up. You'll see I have a similar circumstance this race. Still just running by myself at this point. Don't hear any bikes behind me at all. So that's a pretty good feeling. I think I'm grabbing a drink there already. Even though I ran only 4 laps, I think I used up just about my whole hydration pack. I was trying to stay as hydrated as I could. All right, so we're getting into some of the bottoms here, and took this line the first lap. Well, actually, it gets worse up here. This right here is the infamous section where everybody got lost last year. And I think it was at that turn right there where everybody got lost last year. But still on course here. This little turn right here screwed a lot of people up. I mean, somebody eventually blew that tape, and once that tape got blown, that was it. That was, I think my 2nd and 3rd lap, I missed that turn and had to turn around twice. So here's where we get into the bottoms, and here's where the fun starts. Pretty deep here. I hit a couple of really deep ones. This one's pretty deep, and here's where the fun starts. You get to see why I only ran 4 laps. I'll just shut up for a while and let you enjoy it. Because trust me, I didn't enjoy it.
kidding me?
So obviously I went through all that water, and you know what I'm thinking, right? I'm thinking somehow I sucked water in, and now finally guys are catching up to me and passing me, and of course you know what happens then. The frustration gets worse. Now I'm pushed off the course, trying to figure out what's wrong with my bike. If you are perceptive, you'll figure it out without me telling you. But you better be pretty perceptive. I hadn't seen it yet. Checking the filter. Nothing in there. Try it again. Fiddling with the gas, making sure nothing gets flooded. And
that's beautiful. My fuel load is flying to drift apart.
So somehow something got up under my gas tank and broke my fuel line, and my gas tank was empty. So what had happened is I ran out of gas. So what you've seen just now is when I finally got back to the pits, couldn't find any fuel line. Asked several people if they had any fuel line. Nobody had any fuel line. I couldn't make it work. This was fun the first time because I didn't want to jump it the first time because I didn't know how big it was. I didn't get a good run up because I didn't really realize that was where the jump was. But anyway, back to the fuel line. So luckily I had gas with me, but I didn't have any fuel line, so I cut my hydration hose and took about a 5-inch section of my hydration pack hose off my hydration pack, fixed my fuel line. Luckily I had enough gas to get into my bike and rode all the way back to where I pushed my bike off the course so that I officially ran, you know, an official lap. I didn't get back on up at scoring or anything. I cut all the way back across and went back to where I pushed my bike off the course. So, yeah. You can imagine, you know, now, you know, how the day's going, you know. So, everybody else is probably on their 3rd lap, and I'm still on my 1st, so, yeah. You'll see it later, but when I cross scoring, my 1st lap took me 49 minutes. So, yeah, by the time I got back to the pits, got my fuel line fixed, you know, rode all the way back to where I was, got back on the course, and finished the lap. It was 49 minutes. This section right here, by the way, was super fun. If you rode, you know this. These tight little turns going up and down these ledges here were just super fun. Looks like a guy gave up the ghost there. I liked the change in grass track here. They did a different section in grass track, but I kind of waste some more time up here in a minute. You'll get a good kick out of this one. We're going good up till now, pushing pretty hard right now because I'm trying to make up time. And this little spot is pretty deceiving and really wet, so I'm completely soaked. At this point, you just gotta laugh with me, right? And I wasn't sure what the deal was here, and then I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding. So, time to put your head down and just try to make up time. So, what I did for the next, once I got through, keep in mind, I'm still on my 1st lap here, even though the race has been going for over 40 minutes now. So my 2nd and 3rd lap, I just push as absolutely hard as I can, and I don't really make any mistakes my 2nd and 3rd lap. But I pushed so hard, and it was so hot and humid and everything that, like I said earlier, by the time I got to my 4th lap, it was running out of time. Then I kind of dropped the pace off on my 4th lap because I had pretty much spent most of my energy. The heat today was just pretty brutal. Heat and humidity. Fun little section here, and they call this the Pro Hill here. It's really not too tough, just kind of a fun long uphill. If you hit it hard enough, you can catch some air right here. Fun little section here, dropping back down onto the front side of the hill. I liked the course. I thought it was good. I wish there would have been a little bit more new stuff. You know, there was the new stuff on the back corner there, which was fun. Kind of wish there was a little bit more new stuff, but it's a fun day riding. The course was pretty challenging, especially later on. Some of the hills were pretty challenging, pretty tough. So we're coming up with timing and scoring here, finishing up a lap. I got some bonus footage here. I'll show you here in a minute. So right there is my first lap, and if you can see it, it said 49.25. So this is proof old men can jump. Right here, I think, is my 3rd or 4th lap, and this is clearing that jump. And it was actually a pretty decent sized jump. So yes, old men can still jump dirt bikes. Just wanted you to have proof. Hope you guys enjoy the video.